Thursday, one day away from Friday, which is always makes me happy. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. What kind of fun action do we have from yesterday? Good old Chairman Powell. Huh? Cool. Huh? He's something. Let's see, where's it at? There's the chat line. Okay, so nothing's popped up on chat, so this is good. I don't want to miss anybody asking a question. Excuse me. And so he says he's going to start what they refer to as tapering. It kind of always reminds me of, this whole tapering thing. Remember, we went through 8 years from 2008 to 2004. Yeah, 8 years to 2016. Quantitative easing. 8 years of quantitative easing from 2008 to 2016. And they told us they were going to raise rates every quarter for 4 quarters a year for 8 years under Mr. Obama. And what did they do? They did nothing. And no one seemed to really care. They just said, oh, well, maybe next month. But for 8 whole years, they were going to raise rates. Okay, then the moment Mr. Trump got elected, literally hours after he got elected, he still hadn't taken office for a couple months, they raised rates. So, when they say they're going to taper, I guess it goes under the category of Joe Stalin, the man who used to run the Soviet Union in the very beginning. And that is, it doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the votes. So if the Federal Reserve is the one who measures what tapering is, then it really doesn't matter how many times they're going to say they're going to raise rates or taper. It all comes down to who actually does the tapering itself. And that's how I leave it at that. And a sip of tea this morning. All right, let's see what we got going on here. There is, let's get that up there on J4X. Let's get the Swiss right there. Excuse me. You can see it's moving down. That means the dollar is moving down. You can see the red we've had here. And over on the, where is it at? Right there. There's the Swiss on Chicago Quant. It's bouncing around in that range. Yesterday they bounced it back up. After he spoke, they bounced it back down. Nothing major. I guess we could widen that out a little bit like so. You can see that there. And we go like, you can see the 3 red dots. You can see the 3 red hinkies there. You can see the white line has pierced. You can see the white line has pierced. And that is how we look at the daily every day here with Chicago Quant and J4X to be able to confirm and show the consistency of both. All right, what can we say about the dollar going down or up or in between? Nothing particular at the moment. It doesn't seem like. I don't see anything screaming at us, saying, "Hey, this is pretty cool." They're going to taper or not going to taper, or they're going to do 5 billion, or they're going to start raising rates in the end of November of 2022, or they're starting to tapering. And notice how he plays the 2 angles. I like that. We're going to start tapering in November of 21. So then it comes down to who does the tapering. Then he says at the same time in November, he uses that word November again, but this time he throws in there next year, mumbles it a little bit, in 222. We will start to raise rates. And then he says also if it's necessary or not necessary. So again, it goes right up into that category of who is doing it all. If the Fed wants to do it, they'll do it. If they don't want to do it, they won't do it. And that's it. Doesn't matter what they say today, tomorrow, or next year, because we watched them go 8 full years telling us how they were going to raise interest rates just a 0.25 percentage point. And they couldn't figure out how to do it until Mr. Obama lost or left office. And Mrs. Clinton had lost the race. And then all of a sudden, they raised rates 5 times over just a year and a half. And not even a year and a half, a year. They raised rates 5 times. Or a year and a half maybe, I don't know, something like that. It went to 1.25 to 1.5 from 0 under Mr. Trump. So that's why I'm not too concerned one way or the other. I'm skeptical. It was great volatility yesterday. It was fun. let's do it again. Basically that's where it comes down to. All right, instead I'd rather just trust our math. Our math is usually ahead of the curve when it comes to the Fed, unless they do something surprise, like in seconds. But our math is always better. Even the J4X is even better. And so where we are right now is we just trade them, folks. That's all we can do. Trade the numbers, be the proactive traders we are, work on our tools, be disciplined. That's money management, the whole gig. All right, let's jump over to the euro this morning, see what that looks like. I think I've worn you out on what Mr. Powell did yesterday. And let's take a look at it over on J4X, right there. And you can see here, the product is moving up, just like in the way in other words, gaining against the dollar. Now, it'll start to show on Hinky Ashke soon. And you can see here, even we're delayed, okay? Not delayed, but you can see here we're not moving as fast either, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red dots. And, well, in this case here, you can see that we had one volatility dot, but that long streak there, matter of fact, we can widen that just to reconfirm, looking at both J4X. See, look at that long streak, same thing there, lots of down candles, and we have an up candle today. We're trying to lift. You can see here it is starting to lift, and we have pierced right there by the hair of its chinny chin. The weekly's also jumped back up. You can see that too. And if we widen this a little bit more, you can see, and we can put the little box up right there, and it says minus 0.000, it's 4 zeros, yeah, and a 2 on plot 1. So it's just trying to lift, trying to get that, the buyers are trying to come in. It's a lagging situation. Buyers they're trying, they're stepping up. You can see the weekly, the longer term traders are stepping up even more aggressively. And then when you, let's contract this again. When you really look at it, it's just been cruising along the bottom end of the range for 2 full months. All of August, almost all of September, heading for November, October. It's just hanging around down there, and we were in a weekly sell. We went into a weekly buy for 3 weeks for this strength here, and then it broke off. Now we're trying to turn back up. You never know. The idea is you always want, if you want to get long, you want the markets to go down, not go up. You don't want to average up. You want to average down. So it's just been an opportunity for the traders that are trying to get long to have this pressure on the marketplace itself. A third sip of my tea. I enjoy that. It's so nice. Excuse me for doing that during the webinar, but it just feels like a tea morning. All right, and at the same time, we go and we look at the GBP. See what that's doing. That seemed to be showing even more strength. Right there, look at that. Same nice big spike going on there. And we'll go do that over there too at the same time. Yeah, look at that. I mean, really fighting, and that's fighting to get up. It wants to turn up. And over here, let's see what we do right there. Same situation. We even have a volatility dot kicking out at the same time. We've got a red and a green thing going on right there. So it's trying to lift very nicely. It is cleanly through the buy at the moment, cleanly, and the weekly looks cleanly established at this point. It looks like it's trying to, unless they knock this down, and then we have those Fibonacci's that we've been yakking about lately. Nothing major. I'm not really doing the Fibonacci. It's just that it's an advertisement for Passion. I think you all should tune in to Passion and his Fibonacci webinar. I think it's a well worth thing to always get involved in. Doc is kind of a little hides from that. I don't want to give up any secrets. And if I explained to you some of the ways I use Fibonacci, you would learn some things that I don't want to make public. So I can just say, definitely tune in to Passion and his Fibonacci. We can look at it here and see how it bounces and acts. It confirms the success of Fibonacci. And then again, tune into Passion. Passion does a nice webinar on Fibonacci. just a little help there, just this is a fantastic tool. My math encompasses Fibonacci. As I've said, my math is ahead of Fibonacci. It's before Fibonacci existed. So how do you come up with an idea like that? You know what I mean? Just from the scientific side, looking at expanding galaxies and looking at atomic particles, and I see my math in it, and I see that it preludes the spirals in it. So in other words, it gives me a heads up before the spiral occurs in those two things. So using younger galaxies, the outer thermodynamics shows me that the math picked that up before the spiral that occurs. So that's the only thing I can say about that. I mean I can say more things about that, but it's I'm not trying to do a Fibonacci webinar here. I just try to reinforce Passion's efforts in his training for Fibonacci and how good the tool is. That's what I do. Anyway, there you go. You can see it's running up this morning up to the first line there. That's the 0.23. This is the low. We take the low, we take the high, and we just throw that out there. And you can see twice it has basically pierced or tried to penetrate the 50 percentile and stalled. And you can see here, this is like one of the more stronger moves. You can see one we had there. And also at the same time, notice our daily buy kicks in. In that case there, it ran up to it, and then the next day the daily buy kicked in. In this case here, we're kicking in on a daily buy right there. Let me just throw that in there. So we have a good shot at a daily buy here today. Is that where it goes? Yeah. And so, it's showing us that the buyers are coming in, and that weekly, wow. Like the last time it did this, it took a week for the weekly buy. Let's see if we can show you that there. I had my mouse in shift. Let's use the other mouse. And so you can see here we went into a weekly buy the following week when it ran up to the 2.3. In this case here, this thing is screaming through it right now, which could insinuate, we used to have a fellow who used to do webinars here, Janash. He used to follow the numbers the same way. He would use my numbers, my signals here, and he would be doing his Fibonacci and some of his other stuff, and he would say, when I see it, when he told me gave me this signal here, when this thing starts to really run and we start to get a bounce on the Fibonacci and it's ahead of the other ones, it's usually strength sign, really good strength sign. So that's where that is. Hey Douglas, how you doing? Good morning. So that's how we're having that. That's my advertisement for Passion. Let's see, where are we at from there? So from there, we go over to Turkish Lira. See what's going on with Turkish Lira. That seems to be still, oh, look at that. They are making that charge. We were talking about that. In a weekly buy, daily buy, maybe they make a charge to the yellow dots. We'll see. It's making even more and more aggressive moves towards that direction. So that's kind of interesting to see that power that's being pushed there. And then we'll jump over to the same thing over on J4X, the Turk, dollar Turk, and then from there we'll go over to the Euro, which I think is the better one. That's what we were explaining to Oz Rome, that there are some that do have good characteristics at times, but more than that is that they just have natural tendencies to, the math does a good job on everything. So are there a couple of favorites? It's not as much as they're favorites or they're hotter, or it's just that they to me they're smoother. They give us less buys and less sells, and a lot of times to me I think that's better. A lot of other people are antsy. If they don't get a signal, they start to bootleg and they start to move away from technical analysis, and they start to go with their gut and they get in trouble. That's why we train every day. We work every day at practicing, a half hour, 20 minutes of practicing the charts before you even do a live trade. Excuse me as I take a sip of my tea again. Remember, you don't see athletes in professional sports just practice a half hour before the game and that's it, and then they go and drink and eat for the next 6 days. No, they train every day on some level or another, and traders have to do the same thing because this is truly an athletic event. All right, now We're going to jump over to the Euro Turkish Lira. Remember, traders, if you want to see something, stop me and just jump in. Ooh, look at that. We're piercing one of the channel points that we haven't pierced in 2 months. Interesting. Look at that. And I think we can get rid of that sell again. Yeah. No. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, look at that. Holding up well the weekly. Towards the end of the week here, they're showing more strength. And, oh, I see. It went into the sell yesterday here on a daily. Right there. Let's put that in there. And now today it is flirting with the daily buy. How about that? Right there. Let's change the color there. Interesting. So, you know, we're seeing strength confirming here with the Euro Turkish Lira, which means to me, you know, you want to be strong. You know, you want to watch out for the strength in this thing, or I guess you would call it the weakness, and the strength in the Euro, the weakness in the Turkish Lira. We cannot see. Oh, I'm doing it again. Did I do that again? I hate when I do that. I swear, you guys need to like have a little electric shock and just buzz me, and I jump and I realize that. Sorry about that, Douglas. There it is. And so you can see right there, this thing is trying to lift up. It's trying to get that lift into it now on the Euro Turkish Lira. And then let me go back to the other one. Let me go find the other one. Right there, there it is. Yeah, look at that, going up there after those yellow dots. It pierces that. It's the highest of the high. We're almost at the high of the high, almost the highest high now as we speak, I think. Let's just double check. I don't know if we've been up that high before. No. So the highest this product ever has gone is that high right there back in June of 879. Let's see what this is. That is 880. Okay. And so we may have made a new all-time high. There's 8802, and this is 8805. So we're just off the edges of all-time highs here. Woo! There's some action, huh? Interesting. Let's see what Mr. Powell did there, huh? All right. Now from there we go to Canadian. The Canada, look at that. It's a second day in a sell. It's all in the sell there yesterday. And the weekly is playing with the sell for the first time in bunches of weeks. Since back in here, since it made the lows back in June. Interesting. June keeps on coming up all of a sudden, doesn't it? And let's put it up on Chicago Quant. I'm sorry, J4X right there. There we are. Yeah, look at that baby dropping. And it's got one green. I'm sorry, one red. And we have one red, and we're heading for a second red right there. And this will probably be joining in very soon. So we got a shot here. Maybe we'll see a little weaker dollar now for a couple weeks. That would be interesting to see, except for obviously against the Turkish Lira. The Turkish Lira looks like it's going the other way. Looks like they're buying dollars, which is kind of curious in its own right. And even they're buying euros even more. I guess that's what we could. I guess that's the best way to interpret that, and that is they're buying euros even more than they're buying dollars. Because they're moving much more aggressively through the euro against the Turkish lira, even with the all-time high almost in the dollar Turkish lira. It's just a higher beta, I would call it. That's the way I describe it. So that's the Canadian. Since this is going down, we have to, I don't even have to guess. I already saw silver this morning. I forgot where gold is, but I think gold's +2. And probably I don't remember where crude is, but I'm sure crude is sideways up also. So from there, what we'll do is we'll drift over to that energy complex and take a look and see where gold is this morning. They are trying to back it off a little bit, not anything major there. There it is right there. You can see gold is generating a red dot, but we are, you can see it right there, we are over the buy still, as much as they had it higher this morning. And you can see the weekly has not given up all week long. It's been just very, very strong. I guess that's why the whole week has been fighting to be an upward trend. And then crude oil, right there, same thing, some firmness in there. Went into a daily buy yesterday, 3 weeks in a buy here. So that's a good reason why the Canadian should be going down in value against the dollar. So in other words, it should be becoming more valuable. It's usually the way that works. So it's a weaker dollar, basically. Now, you can see same thing going on J4X. You know, it's broken. The white line has broken. We have a red hinky, and that's the action we're starting to see there. Same situation. Alrighty. So from there, we now go and look at the South African rand, which we would assume would be also going down. And there it is right there. And so you can see it, it is going down. See? Right there. And we've got a red. It's playing with the dashed line, so it's trying to go down. That's what it should be doing. Then over here, let's see. And then right there, you can see the same situation, piercing and trying to go into the sell. Right there. And the weekly is pressing down, and they tried to get it into the buy last week and failed at it, even with that nice big jump. The daily caught it, but the weekly said, nah, don't trust it. And that always sits in the back of my mind when I see that stuff. If the daily can't flip you into a buy, I mean, we have seen things go 9 days in a buy and then finally flip it in there. And boy, have they been some interesting runs on the upside when they finally do. But, overall, that is a good warning sign that we just can't get it into the buy. And that's where we are with the South African rand. Now let's check out ruble. Ruble Duble. Ruble doing the same thing, trying to battle its way into the sell there. It's been in a weekly sell since here, so we're not that surprised there. We thought it was a short-lived adventure. Doc is usually I'm naturally bullish on the ruble. I just think that it should be more valuable. I think it should be in the 30s or the 40s, not the 60s and the 70s and 80s. Let's see. From there, let's just check it out on J4X real quick. There it is. The moving down thing. 2 reds. Nice. We only got 1. No, matter of fact, I don't even think we have a 1, do we? No. We have no red dots. See that? Let me just reset the dots to the screen. Maybe we do it might be further down. Scale. Oh yeah, there it is. Now that we put it on there, so we do have 1 red dot. Okay, and J4X is doing a good job, covering 2 of them, 2 days. So that's a good thing. Boy, that tells you maybe we might get a nice little break in this product. I mean, they failed it on that weekly. Let's see, where did it start off? Yeah, so it failed to go into any buy out of these strengths. So maybe we'll make a new low. That would be nice. Make Doc happy and get us into the 60s. All right, now let's see. From there, where do we go from there? From there we go over to the yen. Right there. And you can see the yen is really battling to stay in the buy also. We can get rid of that crazy circle. Solely because look how high back up it is. And look at that, it's throwing itself into the buy from the sell right there. So I went into the sell there. Now it's trying to go back into the buy. We can move that over. So we're going to go like that. Okay. Move that one over like so. And make that one red. There we are. And it sure is trying, that's for sure. Nice to see it. If this is going up, I guess that means that the dollar is getting stronger against the yen, which is, you know, I guess we're seeing some ancillary pairs, or not ancillary, but we're seeing a sprinkling of it all. So cable's getting stronger against the dollar. The euro's getting stronger against the dollar. The Swiss is getting stronger against the dollar. The Canadian is getting stronger against the dollar right now. All four of those. And then we're seeing the yen go up, so there's more yen to a dollar, so that's getting weaker. Interesting. Interesting. All right. I mean, try to understand how these things are moving sometimes. All right, now let's jump over to, let's see, that's the yen there. Let's see what it looks like on J4X. As it's calculating, I'm going to, oh, see that? Yeah, see it's moving up. Doing the same thing. Yeah, there's some type of pressure going on here, that's for sure. You know, it could be just craziness from, you know, just geopolitical situations. It could be anything at this point. I'm a little surprised. If everybody else is rallying against the dollar, I'm a little surprised that the yen hasn't joined in. All right, now where do we go from there? From there, we jump over to the Mexican peso. Right there. Do 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 do. There it is. Peso was moving up the last couple of days, and now it's flirting with a daily sell again. And we're flirting with that weekly sell. Maybe it'll become more valuable against the dollar. Maybe that's the recipe that we're going to see there. We kind of try to understand sometimes. Sometimes, you know, we just try to figure out what the story might be. Because it doesn't always happen, you know. In this case here, the Mexican peso has been very strong overall the last, you know, 6 months against the dollar. You know, it's been very solid. So, you know, it's not that outlandish to think that you know, it's going to stay that way. Let's see. What can we say more about it than just, wow, they're just going to press down? Maybe this is a decent move now that there's some established boundaries by Mr. Powell, and that could be literally it too. I mean, that really could literally be the whole recipe in the end, and that is that funds need to, you know, get that stuff. They need that stuff, you know. So I guess that's the way we can interpret it, is that maybe every currency now feels more comfortable that he has laid out like a strategy. And since he's laid out a strategy, now they can feel like, okay, now we can start to buy or sell or do whatever, you know. And that's pretty much the answer to that. Now let's put peso on J4X. There we are. So this probably emphasized, you see that one red, right, like ours. You got one red there. And when you look at the range, let's widen it on here. You can see overall, it's been just a sideways choppy thing. You know, I mean, inside some type of resting spot. What is that? All the way back to, what is that? June. June's a magical time, isn't it? That wild spike there. Not really a solid direction. Lower highs, and then we had higher lows, but not here. It looks like it's breaking down, taking out that one. So we'll see. Looks like it took out that one. Right there to there. It's very close. All right. Nobody want to see anything? Because, I mean, if you did, we'd show it to you. I'll give you a chance to think about that for a second. If you'd like to see something at the moment or not see something, it's fine with me. I will go on to, from Mexican, usually that's like the last of the currency pairs we look at, unless someone wants to see another one, and we're not, and we can go back to them if someone wants to see like euro again or cable. It's no problem. We can go back and check these things out again. No problem at all. All right, since we're doing that, we're drifting. We're going to go now to the metals complex. Oh, metals. Ah, there you go. You already knew what I was doing, didn't you? Thank you. All right, so now we're going to drift over to the metals complex, and let's see, where is that? There. Let me just double check something there. Yes. Okay. Perfect. And so let's go do that. Let's go see what gold looks like. Go over here first. And there's gold. Gold has been, like we saw a little while ago, firm. It's up, you know, by the hair of its chinny chin. It's doing its little battling thing there, but, you know, it's still trying, you know. Then the, let's see, I guess we should just put the silver up there, because silver's been up in a daily buy for a couple of days now, which is kind of interesting in its own right. And let's see, let's just go like that to that. To that. There we go. And then let's go find silver. Oh, let me show you gold on Chicago Quan again, just to update that. Let's see. Gold. No, not there. Right there. There we are. Gold. Yeah, now it's at the lows of the day. What's that all about? Oh, let me show you. There we are. So they're having a hard time holding the gold up. I think they've been buying one and buying two, actually. We see platinum. Let's go check that out. There's silver. Silver's still holding up relatively well. Let me give it a correct R, but overall. There we are. Yeah, it's holding up pretty well for a second day. Would love to see this weekly to get through the buy. Please turn up. And then no cheering and trading, unfortunately. And then platinum. Platinum has shown life, which is kind of interesting, because platinum hasn't shown life for a long time, like 20 weeks. I thought it was going to go half a year, but look at that. It's playing with the weekly buy. It couldn't get into the daily buy even with that nice big spike. It's holding up. Now it's trying to press down again. To me, it looks like they were buying platinum and silver and selling gold. That's how it looks to me. It's weird, you know. It just is what it is. You know, we don't even know what liquidations are going on, but we think we interpret the liquidations we saw. You know, they were selling Swiss assets, buying American assets. They were selling everybody else's assets. Bitcoin was getting knocked down. I think Bitcoin closed in a daily buy yesterday. So Bitcoin is starting to bounce up from it, but I believe a lot of that was the Chinese just trying to find, you know, currency so they could prop up. Remember, they're not as wealthy as people think they are. So, I mean, they got close to $1 trillion parked in the U.S. bonds, and they've been buying more U.S. bonds of late instead of selling them. So obviously they're scared. I mean, they hate a U.S., so why would they be buying us if they won't buy us unless it was desperation by them to have to buy them. We have no idea what they lean against, what kind of game is being played, none whatsoever. Okay. Now, so that's the metals complex, and that's copper there. Copper is the gold of China. So let's just give it a refresh, and then we'll go from there to the energy complex. Yeah, see, it's holding up for a second day too, and the weekly looks like it's going to be very comfortable. So, and let's see what it looks like on J4X. Oh, let's see the silver just real fast. Yeah, silver is just down a little bit. But look at it, it's kind of holding firmish, and this is trying to lift up there, so that's good. Then let's take a look at copper. Right there. So there's the metals complex. Douglas, you have any opinion on any of this? Do you see anything I don't? Did I miss anything? I'm curious, trust me. I am curious. If you see something, let me know. You know, sometimes I miss it. You know, I'm looking at so many different things. I can be somewhat more lost than most, trust me. Alright, now, let's see, what's the next thing? Let's go to the energy sector. We'll take a look at crude again real quick. There it is right there, more towards the highs of the day. Right there, you can see it there. See that? Moving up. The weekly looks really firm. You see the white line here moving up. And two greens there, so it's looking fine. Crude oil is trying to challenge highs up in here at this point. Oh, euro gold, Doc. How is it euro gold? Oh, do I have that on J4X maybe? Can I get that off of J4X? Euro gold? That'd be curious to look at. I know I don't have an ability to see it here in the States. So let's see, if I go over to here, there's XAU USD. Is euro gold moving up faster at the moment? I would think so, right? So like euro gold is showing more strength and dollar gold is showing weakness, right? I would imagine that's how we're looking at it. Does that make sense? Am I right or wrong? That's just a wild guess by me. You're watching the numbers? You're watching the euros go up against the dollar, and then you're watching... is there a quote somewhere that they quote euro gold? Boy, wouldn't that be a great futures contract here in the States? It'd be like a currency pairs trade we could play. You know, imagine buying American, dollar gold and trading euro gold against each other. That would be fun. That'd be a great arbitrage type thing. See, I guess that's it's so hard to have a new gold contract, because they control gold so heavily and aggressively. All right, I'm going to go over to natural gas. And we'll see if Douglas says anything particular about that pairs trade. Let's see, what am I going? Nat gas right there. So you see here, it's way down. Look at that. The stochastic's way down. It's starting to make its turn. We went into a buy yesterday, I think it was, or is that tonight? No, that's today. It's starting to go into the buy. It's through the zero line. It's been in a weekly buy throughout this whole move. Oop, whoa, don't want to do that. This whole move. Oop, don't want to do that. This whole move. That's what I wanted to do. So it's been in a weekly buy. Even when it tried to weaken, it didn't do too good a job. It gave us a warning here at the top, to stop being long, and that was a good warning. Let's see. Oh, here Douglas says, I'm watching if the gold goes up, the euro goes up. That's what. Yeah. That's an interesting one because we're seeing right now the euro is going up and the gold is going down, right? Yeah, in a free market situation without quantitative easing, it would be very interesting to see a euro gold futures. Oh, I'd love that. I'd love to be able to trade that. It would, it would do. It would, unfortunately, they probably don't allow it or even push it, solely because they don't want anybody to know what metals are doing anyway. They kind of want you to just kind of turn a blind eye. In other words, oh, Gold's not trading at 5,000. It's trading at 1,700. No worries, mate. You know, relax. There's no transitory anything. Yeah. Funny stuff they do, isn't it? Funny, funny. All right. So there's the nat gas. It's starting to bottom out again. Concerns about a colder winter, the whole bit, you know. I saw some odd. What was that headline I saw? I saw a headline that said something about, I guess, the Russian Federation natural gas is having competition. There's competition coming in, something like that. Let me see if I can find that headline. I thought that was an interesting headline. Let's see, where is that at? It was in Zero Hedge. I saw it. There was a headline in Zero Hedge. I thought it was very fascinating. I didn't really read it. I just read the headline. Evergreen rocked by Wall Street report China making preparations for its demise. Ooh. That was 7:30 this morning. But things are, see what the stock markets are doing. I haven't even looked. I should have that other screen on. Let me put the screen on. There it is. Yeah, I guess they're moving the stock indices down. Okay. But I think they're still up for the day. Let's go check that out. Where are we? We go to the stock indices anyway, so there it is. So, okay, yeah, it was up. S&Ps were up like 23, 24. Now they're up only 15. So they're moving them down. NASDAQ was up 90. Now it's only up 24. Dow Jones Industrial was up like 260, 270 when I started the webinar. Now it's only up 200 points basically. So they're still roaring along on the upside. So there's not that much of a paranoia going on there. Yeah, Gazprom. I saw that article. Turkish Lira plunges to all-time low after surprise rate cut by Aragon. It was Aragon during our webinar. So what are they doing to that? Let's see what they're doing there. Aragon. The president for life. Aragon. No, we saw that high already. So it's already done it. Right? Yeah. The 80204. Yeah, so it hasn't pierced the 5. Needs to go above 806 basically. So 8.806 will make it an all-time high there. But some cash obviously did. Peter Schiff says, slams the Fed that cried taper. Yeah, really. Let's see, Biden pushing dishonorable discharges, court martial for troops who refused the vaccine. Futures rise on taper and evergreen optimism. Bank of England votes 7-2 to keep bond buying unchanged, says developments strengthen case for modest tightening. Let's see, time to say goodbye to everything bubble. Incentive, no. Let me see if I can find that article and read a little bit about it since we were looking at that. There it is. Gazprom about to lose its natural gas export monopoly? All right, let's see what that says. Okay, so let's just show you that. That's kind of interesting. Let's hide that. And let's see, Gazprom, let's find that. There it is. So we're going to put that up on the screen just for you to get a flavor of it. I'm curious about that. I think that, we were looking at gas, so it's definitely well worth us to take a peek at it. There it is. And here it is. Let's get that up on the screen. Let's see, where are you? Which mouse am I playing with here? There it is. There it is. Gazprom to about lose its natural gas export. Let's see. The long-awaited Nordstream 2 pipeline is arguably the world's most contentious energy project. All right. But how's this all going to work out? It says a startup that would be in Russia, in Russia's long-term and European short-term interests by. Okay, so recently Gazprom, owner and operator of the pipeline, announced that its completion. However, legal challenges remain which threaten to keep a startup. Okay. So they're slowing that down. I see, that's what it is. So Eastern Europe, which has a distrust of okay, I don't want to get into that he said, she said stuff. All right, maybe they're going to have a competitor or something like that. I don't know. You know, it's hard to say there. Wasn't really sure what they were going to go say in that whole mess. So, okay, so we understand now why Turkish Lira is having more issues. Is that they raised rates? President Erdogan raised the rates. Let me just go back and see what he did there. I think he did. He obviously raised the rates, or no, maybe not. Maybe dropped the rates. Where's Erdogan? Come on, you can show us where you are. There it is. Lira plunges to all-time low after surprise rate cut. That's it. He's dropping the interest rates. He's not willing to pay as much. Moved by the CBRT. Okay. But not unexpected. Erdogan gets what Erdogan wants. But inflation is rising, and yet they are cutting rates, just like the Fed. So that's all right. That's the same game. He's just following in the footsteps of the Fed. If the Fed can do it, he can do it. You know, I mean, that's what it really comes down to, you know. I mean, really. All right, so we've taken, what have we looked at? We've looked at the metals complex, the oils, and Aragon's currency again. And what else we got to look at? From there, we can go look at the stock indices. And we did just show you a short-term intraday view of them. And you can see, let's give you a longer-term view at the same time. I'm going to show you what the dailies are. You can see they're all up for the day. Now it's 16.5, 32, and well, same 195 basically, 194 on Dow Jones. Now let's go over to the Nasdaq or the Tech 100 that's on J4X. Right, where's that? Right there. And same time, right there. You see the strength in it. You see the same thing going on right here. It's trying to lift. You got a green hinky right there. We've got what do we got? 2 days of green, and we're trying to flirt our way in just the way J4X is. Trying to get into the buy. You can see that right there. And then where do we go from there? We go from there to the S&P 500. You can see the same thing. It's trying to flirt its way into the buy. The weekly is still in a sell. Oh, let me go check the weekly on the NQs. I think it's in a buy. Yeah, it's still in a buy. It has never gone into the sell. Boy, that tells you something, doesn't it? It's a light sell-off, really. And there it is there. That's the S&P. And let's show you the S&P over on J4X. There. Now they have found ways to be in the sell. They caught the sell-off very clearly with a daily and a weekly, whereas the NQs just kept on flirting and flirting and flirting and telling you not to be long, but not to be short. Obviously, the binary and option traders can get away with trading it short, but not the hard delta spot traders. All right, now what from there we drift over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. Same situation, showing the strength. And you can see the white line has pierced the dashed line. And at the same time, you can see also we have a Fibonacci on that too. So it's a little advertisement towards the end of the webinar there to try to tune in to Passion's research that he does and training course in Fibonacci. There we go. Doing a little commercial there. For another webinarist, a good webinarist who works hard. and he does constantly pressure or push. You must practice, you must train, you must, you know, stay disciplined. So he's got it right. All right, you can see here we pierced yesterday the 50 percentile and stalled out. Oh no, that's today. Sorry, that's today, isn't it? That is today. Yeah. And you can see here it's trying to get into the buy, and the weekly's been in a sell on this thing for a while there now. So that was the best of the fun trades. The S&Ps were fun also. And let's see, what else can we say about that? Yeah, just it's trying to climb back up a little bit in there. We'll see. I would think, you know, due to the fact that the talk of increased interest rates, the pronouncement that they are going to do some tapering, I would imagine you'll see, I guess, window dressing more than anything else over the next 3 months. So the next 3.5 months, I would think we will see window dressing. That's what we refer to it in the hedge fund industry. And I don't think we'll see much more than that. I don't think, you know, in other words, it'll be advertisement. You walk by a store, and they might have mannequins in the window trying to sell some clothes. They call that window dressing. And they, you know, they'll spruce something up, make it look a little bit better than what it normally is. They call that window dressing. So I'd imagine funds will buy a little bit more, and then probably tell their investors they're going to wait until January, February, now that the Fed has announced some tightening, and they want to see what inflation does. And I imagine that will keep everything working fine with not much lawsuits. I imagine that'll be the way that plays out. And so I would assume now that we don't get, maybe there's one spike left on the upside, maybe not, maybe this is it. Maybe you're just window dressing all the way to the end of the year. It could be that way. That wouldn't surprise me any. All right, that is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now let's take a look at our weakest of the 4 indexes here. We try to watch, and that is the Russell 2000. Right there. Now the Russell is flirting with a daily buy also right there. It's been in a weekly sell since here. This week right in there. Went into a weekly sell. Into the daily sell right there. And this stopped it from being a buy because of the red and green. So it's been in a sell since there, all the way down to there. And even up to here. And that's the Russell 2000. Then what we do is we'll take a quick look at Bitcoin, and then I think we're coming to the end of the webinar unless someone wants to see something. And there's the Bitcoin. It jumped into the buy there. Just missed it by a hair, I think, right there, didn't it? Or did it do that? Yeah, it pushed it into the buy. So it's 2 days in a buy, and this is the 3rd day, just kind of cruising, but a little weaker. So went down to 40,000 and bounced back to 44. Again, I thought that was just liquidation by the Chinese. I think the Chinese have all kinds of investment tools. I really do. I think that people, you know, interpret China saying one thing and they do another. Remember, let me just remind you of that old story where they told everybody they were going to sell U.S. bonds, and all of a sudden Belgium became the per GDP and so forth, the largest buyer of bonds in the world, of U.S. bonds. And you know, the moment we saw that, I just automatically started telling people in the webinar it's got to be the Chinese. Of course, they got caught. You know, 6 months later, it was the Chinese, and so they told us that they were selling U.S. bonds, which they barely sold, like maybe 50 billion, and they went off and bought almost 300 billion through Belgium. So the Chinese can say something, but it doesn't mean that it means something, you know? It's just it's window dressing. That's all. Window dressing. All right, traders. I guess we're come down to the end. Got to come up with a title for the webinar. Anybody have an opinion? What did we talk about today? Let's take a look and see what we talked about today. I guess gold. There's no doubt about that. We talked about gold. And we talked about the Turkish Lira. Maybe we could do that. Turkish Lira and gold. That's a pretty good one. That should catch some eyes. Some people thinking, hey, what's going on there? So, I guess that's going to be we'll go with that. Turkish Lira and gold. All right, traders, we will catch you tomorrow, which is TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Oh, what's this? Maxine. Hey, Maxine, how you doing? Doc, it's true that the U.S. Turkish Lira is Aragon's currency. They play as how they want it. Exactly. And we've done. Were you around for all the Aragon and the all the things we saw? You know, and how the euro Turkish Lira versus the dollar Turkish Lira. You know, I mean, that without a doubt, that is real. You're right, totally. It's his, and no one else's, basically. That's exactly it. I mean, that's the only way to really, you know, really look at it. Alrighty. Anything else, Maxine? Because I'll hold on for a few more seconds. Anyway then, okay, and Douglas, what about gold? Yeah, we'll talk about gold. I put that in the title. I put in there, matter of fact, I did what Maxine and you basically are talking about. I really thought about that. But I put in there Euro, Turkish Lira, and gold. That's what I put in there. Alrighty, this is Doc from North America saying arrivederci. Happy trails.